Hello, Lisa Hiles here from Perfectly Spoken. How are you? That's good. Thank you for joining me for lesson 13 of my B1 course for intermediate learners, and for those of you with an IELTS score of about 4. This lesson is a vocabulary lesson, and it's talking about the type of people we admire or dislike. So the content is positive and negative adjectives and phrases for describing a person's personal qualities, adjectives for describing people's personal qualities, basically. And there'll be plenty of opportunity for you to practice. Okay, shall we start? We'll have a look at the first slide. And I'm going to go, I think. There we are. Look at this list of adjectives for describing someone's personality and personal qualities. 1, courageous. 2, tolerant. 3, imaginative. 4, hardworking. 5, talented. 6, confident. 7, principled. Can you match them to their definitions below? A person is very good at something, for example, music or sport. B, an person finds it easy to create stories or to think of new ideas. And C, a person has strong beliefs about what is right and wrong and uses these beliefs to make decisions about what to do. Okay, I think we'll run through the answers to these first. So, what kind of person is very good at something, for example, music or sport? The answer is 5, talented. What kind of person finds it easy to create stories or to think of new ideas? B is 3, imaginative. And C, what kind of person has strong beliefs about what is right and wrong and uses these beliefs to make decisions about what to do? C is 7, principled. How are you doing so far? Okay, so we've used those 3 adjectives. We've got some more practice from this list. Okay, here we go. So we're looking at the same adjectives, the list of the first 7, okay, but we have used talented, imaginative, and principled already. Okay, let's have a look. What kind of person is brave, especially in dangerous situations? E, what kind of person spends a lot of time on their job or studies? F, what kind of person does not criticise but accepts people with different beliefs or views? And G, what kind of person is not shy in new situations and believes in his or her own abilities? So the answer to D is 1, courageous. A person is courageous if they are brave in dangerous situations. E, a hard-working person, so 4, a hard-working person spends a lot of time on their job or studies. F, a tolerant person does not criticise but accepts people with different beliefs or views. And confident is G. A confident person is not shy in new situations and believes in his or her own abilities. How did you do? So we're going to do some more work with those adjectives now. Okay, so we're still working with courageous, tolerant, imaginative, hardworking, talented, confident, and principled. Okay, so any more problems that you have, if you can't remember what some of those words mean, just go back to the definitions in task 1. Okay, let's have a look at task 2. Here we go. Do you know the opposites of the adjectives in task 1? So the opposite of courageous is, and here you might want to stop the recording and look it up in the dictionary or on your phones. Okay, so a courageous person who is somebody who's brave in dangerous situations. So what's the opposite? A person who isn't brave. Okay. The opposite of courageous is cowardly. And I'll show you the spelling in a moment. Pronunciation, cowardly. So someone who isn't brave in dangerous situations, maybe they run away, they are cowardly. Number 2, the opposite of tolerant is intolerant. Intolerant. Number 3, the opposite of imaginative is unimaginative. Unimaginative. Okay, so just listen to the stress. It's imaginative, unimaginative. The opposite of hardworking is lazy, of course. The opposite of hardworking is lazy. The opposite of talented is got 2 possibilities here. You can have untalented, like unimaginative, untalented, or you can say talentless. Talentless. Pronunciation there, it's weaker sound at the end. Talentless. The opposite of confident is unconfident. Unconfident. And the opposite of principled is unprincipled. Let's look at those answers. Just let me get the slide ready for you, and I'm going to get rid of myself. Here we go. So the opposite of courageous is cowardly. The opposite of tolerant is intolerant. Imaginative, unimaginative. Hardworking or lazy. Talented, untalented, talentless. Confident, unconfident. Principled and unprincipled. Why have I done it like this? Why have I presented language in this way? Well, actually, it's a very quick way of expanding your vocabulary. If you look at some adjectives for describing personal qualities that are positive, and then you find their negatives, you've really expanded your vocabulary. It's also a very good way of recording vocabulary to make the most out of it, so that you have it's easier for your memory. It's easier to remember the words if they're recorded in this way. Just a tip. Okay, so what else have I got for you? Let's look at the next slide, shall we? Here is a way of pushing your learning further. So maybe in your notebook you have got the original 7 adjectives, then their antonyms, their opposites, and now here's some practice. What about you? Take one word, for example, the word courageous. Yes, think of its meaning. What kind of a person is a courageous person? Can you remember? Yeah, so they are a person who is brave, especially in dangerous situations. Okay, so think of a person you know who is courageous. When was the last time you had to be courageous? Number 2. Speak out loud or make notes and then record yourself. Which job requires you to be courageous? And number 4, do you find it easy or difficult to be courageous? So I've provided you with 4 questions there that you can use with one adjective, and hopefully in asking yourself those questions and in answering those questions so that they are personal and true for you, it will help your memory. So imagine you wanted to learn the word tolerant. You know the opposite is intolerant. The definition of tolerant is somebody who doesn't criticize other people for their beliefs or views, just accepts them. And then you can personalize. Here we go. Think of a person you know who is tolerant. When was the last time you had to be tolerant? Which job requires you to be tolerant? And do you find it easy or difficult to be tolerant? I hope you enjoy that exercise. It's a good one to do. Personalizing the language in this way really helps you to remember it. Okay. Further practice. Look at these sentences which are true for me. I really admire people who are principled. Number 2, I've never liked people who are intolerant. Number 3, I wish I was more talented. Number 4, I'm very hardworking. Number 5, I'm quite courageous. Number 6, I'm not very imaginative. So these are sentences which are true for me. How can you make them true for you? So here I'd like you to start the sentence, I really admire people who are, and you choose the adjective that you want to complete the gap. So shall we try? Number 1, I'll say the sentence, you read it with me, and then choose an adjective. You can choose mine if you agree with me, or of course you can choose another one. I really admire people who are. Number 2, I've never liked people who are. Number 3, I wish I was more. Number 4, I'm very. Number 5, I'm quite. Number 6, I'm not very. Okay. Have you enjoyed personalising that language to make it true for you and making it memorable? I hope so. I've got another word building task here. So far we have looked at the adjectives courageous, tolerant, imaginative, hardworking, talented, confident, and principled. And then we've looked at their opposites. The opposite of courageous is cowardly, tolerant, intolerant, imaginative, unimaginative, hardworking, lazy, talented, talentless, or untalented. It's not a very nice one, that, is it? Confident, unconfident, and principled. Unprincipled. I'd like you to look at this table. Okay, there you can see the adjectives that I have just read out and their opposites, which we have studied so far. Now I'd like you to think about if you know the noun. So if courageous is the adjective, the noun that I've done for you is courage. Can you complete the table with the noun form of the adjectives that we used in task 1 and 2? So tolerant and intolerant, what's the noun? Imaginative and unimaginative, hardworking and lazy, talented and talentless, confident and unconfident, and principled and unprincipled. You may want to stop the recording at this point and use a dictionary if you are not sure. Here are the answers. Hello. So, someone shows great courage if they're courageous. A tolerant person has tolerance. An imaginative person has a good imagination. A hard-working person enjoys hard work. A talented person has a talent for something like music or sport or art. A confident person shows confidence in new situations. And the noun from principled is a person of principle. Principle. Now, why did I put it in the table form? Let's go back to that table form, can we? Let's go back to this table form. This is a really good way of expanding your vocabulary, okay? So it's called word building or a word family. Here we started the lesson just with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 adjectives. Then we did their opposites. So now we have 14 adjectives, and with their nouns, we now have 21 new words. Not bad for 20 minutes work, is it really? Okay, so it's a very efficient way of learning vocabulary. And I think if you put them in a table like this, it will help your memory. But of course, that's okay for learning words just one at a time, but then we need some practice, don't we, for how to use them in a sentence. So that's what we can have a look at now. I think this is my final task. Here we go. Number 1, complete these sentences with the correct noun from task 5. I wish I had a for music, but I'm not musical at all. Number 1, the answer is, I wish I had a talent for music, but I'm not musical at all. Number 2, my daughter has an amazing and writes really interesting stories. 2, imagination. My daughter has an amazing imagination and writes really interesting stories. Number 3, my son can be shy. He sometimes lacks, so he sometimes doesn't have, he sometimes lacks what in new situations? So if you're shy, you don't have much or you lack confidence in new situations. Number 4, teaching can be very, but I love it. Number 4, hard work. Teaching can be very hard work, but I love it. Number 5, this world would be more peaceful if people showed more. Which noun do we need here? Number 5, tolerance. This world would be more peaceful if people showed more tolerance. Number 6, fire and police officers show great what in dangerous situations? They show great courage. And number 7, in my opinion, the Dalai Lama is a person with strong what? Principles. Shall I show you the answers? Here we go. Number 1, talent. Number 2, imagination. 3, confidence. 4, hard work. 5, tolerance. 6, courage. And 7, principles. That's the end of the lesson. 6 tasks, plenty for you to study and make that language yours. Use it, try and use it, learn it. Think about the word building table with adjectives and opposites and nouns as a way of recording your vocabulary. And I'll look forward to seeing you again next lesson. Thanks for listening. Bye.